All right, thank you for joining us. My name is Mark Mazak, Business Development Manager for Edmentum. We are here at Oxford School District in Oxford, Pennsylvania with Dr. Billings Jones. And our goal for today in this session is to speak about pilots, piloting programs using Edmentum solutions, and how pilots can be effective in your district and in your school. We are very fortunate to have Dr. Billings share some of her day and share some time with us to speak about her process with her pilot experience with Edmentum. I like to have Dr. Billings introduce herself first, and then what I'll do is I'll get into the pilot transition that they experience here at Oxford. So, Dr. Billings?
Thank you, Mark. My name is, as Mark said, my name is Margaret Billings Jones. I'm the Assistant Superintendent here at Oxford Area School District. We were very excited to have the opportunity to pilot the exact path. And part of the reason we were excited about doing that was based on the fact that about 6 years ago, we entered into the district here and brought in new curriculum, brought in new resources to support the curriculum. And then we were looking for ways to be able to evaluate how that curriculum was really affecting student achievement and looking at ways to support and provide intervention for the curriculum and supplemental areas. So that was really the thought when we first talked with you, Mark, about bringing in the exact path and taking a look at piloting it here. We started obviously with our English language arts, which was the first content area that we were looking at in our curriculum and the resources. So bringing in the exact path seemed natural to bring it in under the English language arts to be able to pilot it.
Right. And to kind of give some more context from beginning to end, I'm definitely going to turn it over to Dr. Billings to fill in the gap. They started off with the ELA pilot for Exact Path. Along with that pilot, they piloted the PSS-aligned state benchmarks during that time frame. So that pilot took place. Then once that pilot was ended, there was the decision to purchase Exact Path and the benchmarks and implement it through the district. Once that was implemented in for almost a year, I think it was, we decided to pilot Exact Path Math and the PSSA state-aligned benchmarks for math for the second part of the pilot. That ended up transitioning into another purchase by the district. So towards the end and where the current state is in Oxford, they currently have Exact Path ELA Math and the PSSA-aligned benchmarks for math and ELA. And I kind of want to move into the pilot, and there definitely has to be a need first to pilot any solution, and we definitely want to honor that. Can you talk a little bit about the support during the pilot that you received from our implementation consultant, myself, and any other people at Edmentum?
Sure, I'd be happy to. We started the pilot in two of our school buildings, in our 3-4 building and in our 5-6 building. The thought was we would start it in those particular buildings to be able to give the principals and the teachers the exposure to the program, and then make the determination, did it correlate with our state assessments? Was it able to move our students and help us advance with the learning path as well as in the diagnostic and the benchmark? To be able to do that, obviously the training was very significant for us to make sure that our teachers felt very comfortable with the program, because we wanted a program that had ease of use, and then the teachers would find the value in taking the time to administer a diagnostic, looking at then where it showed our areas of weaknesses, and then being able to support that in the learning path. That became very important to us. And to be able to do that, then obviously our teachers needed to really understand the capacity of the system. And obviously the training that we had by Greg on multiple days of training, our teachers found it very effective. I could tell you very succinctly that they thought his training was very effective for them. He was very personable, and any question that they had, he was able to answer. As you know, yourself, Mark, too, obviously, in bringing this to us and being able to contact you anytime we needed some support, finding that to be very effective and tremendously user-friendly as far as, here it is, what do you need, how can we look at your reports, whatever it was that we needed to make sure that our principals understand it, because obviously I'm working with our teachers, and our teachers really have the ease of using it. So the professional development, the training has been exceptional to this, even to this point.
And I recall that in the beginning, one of the needs from our previous conversations over a year ago was the value of it working on your devices. If you could share a little bit about your devices, I think we had iPads.
We did. And that was obviously very important because we went one-to-one in this district. We were 1-to-1, 9 to 12, 7 to 8 now, and this year 5 to 6 as well. So 5 through 12 were 1-to-1. So to be able to have a program, that digital resource that works on our iPad without, we've had issues in the past with some other programming that required flash and things of that nature, but to be able to have it compatible with our systems for the flexibility of our teachers to use it when they needed to be able to administer it in their classroom has been tremendous. So to make sure that it had that, you're instrumental in making sure that we got that.
No, and I think that with the pilots, it adds value that the training is a big component of the pilots that we offer at Edmentum, that we just don't give you licenses per se and say, here you go and have fun with it on your own. We definitely want to make sure that you have success with it. And to have and see that value in that pilot opportunity to make that decision of making the jump, so to speak, and purchase. So what was the most important piece, do you think, that kind of helped you make the jump to follow through with the pilot and the purchase?
The most important part really was the feedback from our teachers.
Good.
And our building, because when they were saying that this program really does work, that it helped look at the diagnostic areas of weaknesses, it helped them to be able to improve student performance, to give them another area of intervention in addition to all of our resources that we have, our core resources. That was the selling point for me, that the teachers found it to be useful and they were using it. And their feedback was most important, as well as them looking at the correlation for us to be able to determine that it matches up with our state assessment. So that truly was it. And the compatibility, I won't overlook that, because that's obviously very important, that it's compatible with the equipment that you have.
Absolutely. I think that you want to make sure it works on your devices, and you want to make sure that's producing the data to help drive instruction in the classroom as well. And alignment, of course, as you mentioned.
I'd like to also mention too, Mark, one of our teachers, which was another key area, was the ability to adjust the learning path.
Yes.
That it wasn't just put the child on the system and the child just went on this automated digital system. But the teachers came to me and said, hey, I can adjust this and provide additional support in this particular area of weakness for a child if I choose to, based on what I'm seeing as the teacher. So having the teachers being able to make those adjustments too was very important.
And I think that adds more to the value of the training part of the pilot, that they know the nuances of the program, and that we're accessible, and you have a contact person to, if they do need to troubleshoot an issue like edit a learning path, they have that contact that they could go ahead and find out how to do that. That's a great point.
Yeah, the reports were important to us too.
Absolutely.
Because our teachers could look at the reports and they could look at whether a student's need was an individual need or whether there was more of a group concern for them in their instruction. So it gave not only individual but the group. And I think for the principals as well. So those reports are very important for us.
And we thank yourself too, because you constantly communicated with myself and Greg, who was the implementation consultant that did the training. And everything was done in a timely fashion, that we trained teachers on the platform, but then once data was in the platform, we came back and met with them again to analyze that data to make sure that there's correlation with that.
Absolutely. And I think your suggestions, how to start the diagnostic, so that we had information initially for the teachers to be able to use once you came in, and actually then they were working with their own data rather than, some other, sample data. So live data was
a little different when it's sample data until you have your own data in the system. Yeah. Could you speak a little bit about the transition after your pilot was over? Because, oftentimes we talk about pilots and, they end and then there's like a gap in between. Can you talk about what changed or what didn't change?
I think the ownership changed in regard to the fact that the teachers, not only did we pilot it and feel very comfortable with it, but now it became ours. And the familiarity with it is tremendous. So they continue to use it that way. But what didn't change was the supports. even though we're piloting, which was, I think, huge on our part to take a look at that. Because when you're piloting and you're looking at something and you're potentially going to purchase it, sometimes you get that that support. And then once we own it,
right,
that support is still
you're
there.
off on your own, right?
And that didn't happen. When we're off on our own, the support is still there. And I know that our teachers appreciate that. You know, even as late as today, when I said to you, hey, I have a principal that's looking at wanting to fine tune something in reports.
Okay.
So I think, you know, we're very pleased with the fact that that level of support is there. And anytime we've reached out, you know, the contact was immediately made. You know, whether it's the same day or the next day, I don't think anything ever went beyond a day as far as reaching out to you. So it's been very.
That's good to hear.
Yeah,
we appreciate that. Can you highlight some of your successes that you had from the implementation point now? Because now you're done with your pilots and you're fully implemented. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I sure can. Obviously, you know, we piloted in the 3-4 building, the 5-6, so they're ahead of the other buildings in the use of it. And in addition to the resources, the core resources we put in place and intervention pieces that we put in place, the exact path has really been instrumental, I think, in giving us the diagnostic and looking at the weaknesses, and contributed significantly, I believe, to the advanced achievement of those buildings. That one, our 3-4 building has really moved up significantly in regard to their performance levels. We see a lot of growth. And as a matter of fact, I could speak specifically to, we were talking about, you know, as we start with ELA and then we moved into math, our 3-4 building was running into an area of weakness in the geometry. And the teachers looked at that in the diagnostic. They addressed the instruction. And then on the benchmark, we were able to see that their scores were really solid in geometry.
That's great. And that comes into the challenge of Pennsylvania and other states that we work in, is the balance of growth and state proficiency on state assessments. I think that's where you have a great plan in place, that you have a happy balance, so to speak, between the two, that the diagnostic assessment is giving teachers information of where those gaps are, and they're addressing those gaps by looking and reading the reports. And you're also seeing the success and outcome on the state standard of benchmarks that are grade levels. So that's good to hear.
Absolutely. And the key thing for us was looking at that benchmark and looking at, did that benchmark relate to our state assessments, our student proficiency on the state assessment.
Right.
And that was, you know, actually part of the decision too, to purchase, that it really was aligned pretty well.
I think that's what you mentioned before, that there's a lot of reasons you go into a pilot, of course. You know, number one, making sure that it works with your devices that you have, whether it be iPads, Chromebooks, it doesn't matter. And the second piece is the correlation part of it. Is it correlated to your state standards? And the data piece. You know, every solution out there provides data, and I share that with everybody that I meet with. But it's the ability to analyze that data and make decisions in the classroom. And you have a great group of core, strong teachers in your district. And, you know, we like to feel that we are a part of that decision-making process by at least providing the data for the teachers to analyze and drive instruction. You know, but going back to what you said earlier, that came back from our training during the pilot session. That we're just not here to turn it on for you. We're here to take you all the way through from beginning to end, and to use that data to help drive instruction in the classroom and succeed in your district.
You know, Mark, I always say to the teachers, they work hard. All of our teachers work hard. Our principals work hard. We look at them and say, I don't want you to work harder, but I want you to work smarter.
Right. And
I think based on what ExactPath is giving us in regard to the diagnostic, it is helping us to work smarter.
Right.
Because they're working very hard.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And, you know, that program was built by teachers for teachers. And, you know, we had a goal to keep it intuitive and simple for them to use. So that's great feedback to hear. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Any last words in regards to the pilot process that you experienced?
The process was smooth. It was seamless, and it led us to the purchase. And now it's leading us, I believe, to increased academic performance. So done what it needed to do. Perfect. So I would recommend anybody who's thinking about it, look at it and see if it meets your particular need. Obviously, with your resources in place, how you can utilize it best, and really take advantage of the pilot.
Perfect.
You know, with any content area that you need, because obviously we started ELA and then went into the math.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Perfect. Yeah, we appreciate Dr. Billings' time here today for taking a couple moments and sharing her experience with everyone out there. And thank you for your time today. Thank you very much.